Hey everybody, it's your old pal JW. Welcome to Horror Quickies number 13. Today we're going to be reviewing One Remains with Christopher Atkins. Those of you who remember him, he got famous for the Blue Lagoon with very young Brooke Shields. Okay, this movie is about a film crew who go out into the woods to meet this old guy who used to be a park ranger. When he was a park ranger, he stumbled upon multiple young people who went out and they basically were killed in mysterious ways. Not really sure if it's self-inflicted, just a really creepy story. And they want to film a documentary, so they go up there to talk to him. His son basically says his father has his good days and bad days, Alzheimer's, stuff like that. So basically the first night they can't really do nothing. They're basically waiting for the son to tell them when their father's ready to talk. So cue the party montage with music. And I'm going to be honest with you, one of my pet peeves is when they have party scenes or people getting together and drinking scenes and they want to do that like musical montage where they play a music and you see people, and it's fine in short doses. I'm not a fan of it personally. I'm not, because there's plenty of movies that have party scenes that actually have dialogue and stuff, and I don't feel like you need that montage. That's just my personal feelings on that. Anyways, it goes way too long. It really bummed me out. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was unnecessary. It was long montage, then two of the characters hooked up, and yes, there is nudity during this scene. At least two people hooking up, back to the party, montage, and then they start talking. Now this part, when I started talking, it was good because one of the crew members' young sister is like their intern, hence free labor for the film crew. Filmmakers, we know about that. When somebody says they want you to be an intern, you're not getting paid. Anyways, she doesn't know the story about what the park ranger found, so they tell it to her, and it's kind of interesting scene. The pacing of this film is really slow, but I'm starting to, it's one of those things where, okay, let's just see where it goes. And they finally interview the guy, and he tells the story, and he's been through a lot, and he tells the story. And Christopher Atkins is pretty good in this role. He's not a lot in the film, but when he is, he's actually pretty good. He's probably the only known actor in this film, and I thought he did a pretty good job. The actors playing the filmmakers did a pretty good job. I mean, you've got your typical characters. You have the religious girl, you have the cameraman who's a prick, you have the director who's trying to keep everybody together. There's like secret hookups, people discovering who's hooking up with who, that kind of thing. It's all status quo, and that part of it is fine. When they basically they have dinner and stuff, there's like the old man played by Christopher Atkins. He's got his son, of course, and he's got his son. So his son and grandson are with him, and they have dinner, and there's a little bit of information about the way that family is, where the grandfather's kind of strict on things, and he mentions to them that he actually had his old camera. It's never stated what type it is. He said he had it transferred to VHS, so I'm assuming maybe 8mm, 16mm, more than likely 8mm. And he says he has that footage. So his son doesn't want him to. Now, I'm not gonna totally spoil the whole movie, but long story short, they watch the tape and he starts having issues. He has Alzheimer's, so he starts his son stops the tape. But filmmakers, right? No, I'm joking. Anyways, the director decides to swipe the tape, and they decide to watch it. As they watch the tape, they see something else on the tape. Now, this right here is where I really liked. If the filmmakers would have focused on this and kept this tight rather than the frivolous stuff, which it wasn't a whole lot of frivolous stuff, but They took some molded, like really like normal scenes, and I felt like they expanded more than they needed to. Anyways, they start seeing things on this tape that relates to them directly in the future, and it's a really good spin, but it's never explained. And in the third act, it's pretty exciting, as of course in most horror movies they're trying to escape the situation, and the lack of things being explained. I mean, is it the woods? Is it the tape? Is it a tape that shows you, you know, your demise, or, you know, is it the woods? You know, you have people saying, "What, you know, it's the woods." And then of course you start to get the feeling that this family knows what they're saying, and you know, you sort of get the feeling that maybe this family has sinister intentions. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but in general, the movie had promise, but it just had a problem kind of getting off the ground in the beginning, and then when things started moving in the third act, it just became like most films where when you get to the ending, and I didn't like the ending, but I knew that was going to happen, where it's revealed who was setting who up, and you know, you get a clear idea of you know, who basically is responsible, but at the same time there's no explanation. I mean, literally at the end, like, okay, these are the bad guys, but there's no explanation. Now, I bought this film for $9.96 at Walmart, and I'll be honest with you now, I don't think it was worth the money because it was kind of frustrating to watch. And there were some positive ideas. Maybe if I got it in the $5 bin or something like that, maybe, but it's hard for me to say. But paying $9.96 for it, I'm not going to say I hated this film. It's just, I just felt like it was one of those frustrating situations where you had some good ideas, but the execution, it's like, maybe they felt like they had to stretch for time by making some of these normal scenes longer, but it just ended up kind of frustrating me. So I may give it another watch, but also it's also frustrating the lack of explanation. I'm sorry, the third act has to answer questions. The third act should not only signify the death of most of the characters, it should have some sort of explanation. Maybe not all, but something, man. So anyways, that's it for this edition of Horror Quickies. This is JW, signing off.